Knowing that you were such a creative, expressive child, how did you end up as a lawyer? I feel like there had to be some shoulds in there.
Yes,
Tell us that a little
I
bit.
shoulded myself to death.
I shouldded myself
almost to death. Almost to death. I almost.
That's what we're going to call this
Yes,
one.
yes.
Your health was in a really serious position and you were working on healing. It was literally your job.
Yep.
And you felt like the turning point in getting better was actually when you required creativity in your daily life.
Absolutely. Well, I had a big focus on mindfulness and not just meditation, but just being mindful in every moment, trying to be present in every moment. And I found the most effective way for me to do that was through art.
Absolutely.
Through engaging in the creative process. And by painting and doing artistic processes, I'm able to slow it down and get into more of a mindful state of being. And that's where I think ultimate healing really began to occur for me, when I really started to make creativity a priority in my life. And Embodied has been so integral to that because I just keep taking classes. So I was a high-powered, stressed-out attorney working in downtown, even though my body was telling me to get out, to change tracks. I almost had to die in order to really receive the message. I had chronic stress, and eventually all the overworking and not taking care of myself manifested in the form of an immune deficiency. And I just had to make some very difficult choices. If I want to live, if I want to continue to live a long and healthy life, you know, like, what does that look like? And so for 5 months, I was basically just in this role as a patient, you know. And when I ended up not being able to go back to my job at the law firm, I really entered this phase of my life where I decided my full-time job was to get healthy. And so I actually would write that on forms when you have to fill out intake forms.
Yes,
you know,
it's like occupation.
And I would say getting healthy. That was my occupation. So for my health, I've chosen to be happy. And so I thought, I really like painting. I really love the creative process, and I need to get that in my life. I literally just did a Google search for painting classes near me and found Embodied.
Surprise.
Yes. So I took you were teaching Intro to Acrylics, and that was my first painting class. And
years ago now.
Yeah. I think that was in 2016 maybe.
Wow.
And I adored it. I loved it so much. And kind of set up a little painting studio in my house. And one of the things that I do in my life to this day still, it started back in 2015, and I still do it, is I have this piece of paper, I call it my self-care tracker. And one of the little boxes I have to check off every day is creativity.
Wow.
So it plays a huge part in my life on a daily basis, just to keep my immune system strong, to downregulate my stress response, because I was chronically stressed out and I had just so much cortisol in my system. I mean, I'm able to, and I still do, I meditate 20 to 30 minutes a day. But that's my attention span for meditating. You know, I can do 20 to 30 minutes, but I can paint for 4 hours. And you get into that, I think the flow, you just get into that zone and the flow. And yeah, I think that for me is the pinnacle of mindfulness practice.
Art also has the added benefit of expression, you're taking what's inside of you and you're moving it out.
Yes.
Don't you think that was also maybe part of why that healing really started to turn the corner?
Absolutely. I think through the creative and expressive process, you learn about yourself.
Yes.
And one of the major lessons that I learned and continue to learn every day that I sit down at my canvas is courage. I was an attorney, and I knew what my life was about, and to take that leap into the vast unknown, it was terrifying. Yeah.
So did art help you figure out who you really were?
Yeah.
I just love, because I know you you know, in the art, I know art, Chelsey. So imagining you in your like business suit going to a paint and sip with all your lawyer friends and just being like, oh my God, I love this is so great to me. It's like there was this whole other part of you that probably was, I don't know, hidden or suppressed. And then all of a sudden she started coming out. Is
Yeah,
that kind of what it was like?
absolutely. It was like child Chelsey came out, because when I
Yes.
was a kid, I always was doing arts and crafts. I was so creative. My mom, up to my first year, my freshman year of high school, I was still deeply involved in the arts. I
Okay.
mean, my schedule my freshman year was, I think I had art class, independent art class, theater class,
What?
choir, handbell choir, and like history.
No way.
And that was the first time we were allowed to choose our classes. And so this is what I chose for myself. So I was definitely on this
the
trajectory.
creative.
Yeah. But we moved, and the new school, high school that I was in, didn't have an arts program at all. And so, right?
What?
I just did a complete 180 and shifted my focus and signed up for a ton of math and science classes, and I became very focused on maintaining my GPA, and I just became very academically driven, overachiever, you know, and grades were everything, and I had to graduate valedictorian, and I had to get I should, right? Should be able to get a full ride academic scholarship. I should go to a great university. And then when I got to the university, I should be pre-law. I should be pre-med. So I was pre-law and pre-med and got, you know, 3 majors and a minor in 4 years. With all those 3 majors and a minor, I was always had a really full course load, but I had room for 1 elective, and I took drawing.
Like 1 elective in the 4 years?
Yeah. And I took a drawing class.
You squeezed in a little bit of art?
It was so amazing. And my drawing professor I remember he just kept saying, are you sure you don't want to pursue something in the arts?
Really?
You really need to think about this. And because he could probably see how I would light up, and you know, just how jazzed I was about the class. And I kept saying, no, I'm going to be a doctor or a lawyer, because those are the things you should be. A couple decades later, my body just said, you are done. Even though my body was telling me to get out, to change tracks, I almost had to die in order to really receive the message. And so it was like a 4x4 to the head instead of, you know, the gentle kicks in the butt. So looking back at it, I think all of that had to happen. All of it happened for a reason. It was awful. It was dark times. You know, I didn't know if I was going to make it out the other side. I just kept getting infection after infection, and at one point I was in the hospital, and I remember the doctors coming in and telling my husband that I was septic. Like it's
really serious.
Yeah, and so it grabbed my attention. And looking back on that scary time, I think if I hadn't gotten really sick, if I hadn't gotten that staph infection that like was the first domino that, you know, just started this whole snowball effect, then I never would have sort of rediscovered my true self.
Yeah.
As far as wanting to be of service to is the elderly population, is working with seniors. I get so much joy out of working with them. And so I volunteer at a couple of different nursing homes in the area, and I go in and I teach painting to them.
Yeah.
And I just love it. I love it. Yeah. And just how proud they are at the end.
Yes.
With their paintings, you know, and I take a picture of them. I always have them hold up their painting, and I take individual pictures of each one of them, and they just smile so widely, and I don't know, it gives them a sense of accomplishment and of pride.
Yeah.
Since I've been doing it for about 2 years now, I have seen this transformation, this sort of evolution from being in more of a fear-based place with the painting to being proud of their accomplishments, to feeling courageous, to, you know, they love to give their paintings to their kids and to their grandkids. And sometimes they'll request and say, can we paint something with pink in it next time? Because my granddaughter's birthday's coming up, you know? Their lives aren't necessarily going the way that they had planned.
Totally.
Right? Like, no one ever pictures themselves
No.
ending up in a situation like that. It can be sad, to think about it, but I know that they're experiencing some joy every time that I come in for 2 or 3 hours, and they're gaining a sense of pride.
Yes.
And when you enter and when you give up your home, right? When you get to the point where you can no longer take care of yourself and you have to give up your home and your independence.
Yes.
And you go and you live in a situation like that, it is sort of a step down for your pride and your ego and your sense of self.
Sense of self.
Right? And through the creative process, through these little paintings that we do, they gain their sense of self back. They gain a sense of individuality because every one of their paintings looks so different, right? And they really light up. And so I think that in and of itself can be very healing.
I mean, first of all, I'm just thinking about the switch of you, like, high-powered lawyer, maid partner to I am going to help as many seniors as possible make art. And the gift that you're giving that I see, so clearly is what you were saying. I don't have my independence. I don't have my home, my car, the things that used to be me.
Right.
It's actually kind of similar to your story. It's like, this is me. This is how I know myself. And now it's gone. And then art helps you find yourself. And it helps you find the true you that really can't be taken away. Right?
And nothing can take that away. I love how you said that, because it's the wheelchair that she's confined to, the little room that she has to live in, the medicines that she has to take. Those could become her new identity. And it's talk about mirroring, because I was in that exact same situation 4 years ago. Right, that was becoming my identity.
Now the beauty of your story and then mirrored in what you give to them is so amazing. I'm like, to say anything that you want to say to people watching or listening, like, how does art make life better, in your opinion?
Art makes life better because it makes you happy. And there's nothing healthier than being happy.